For example, if you're on the contraceptive pill, it can sort of block its effectiveness. So that's something.
Okay.
So that's something to watch out for. But that's just to show. I mean, herbs do work, but you just need to know what you're doing with the herbs. So it helps to sort of keep your adrenals going. It's a great one for women who work sort of long hours, or it's a nutritive as well. So if you find you're sort of just really run down, depleted, just feel sort of emaciated and just need nourishing.
Hey guys, we have got Rosemary back for another video with you. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you for having me back.
No, man. My pleasure. So you guys sent in some questions for the past week or so about the previous video that we did. So it was all about herbs and mental health. In particular, depression and anxiety, and we've got some really interesting questions. So Rosemary is kindly going to answer them now. And if you haven't seen our first video, click the little eye in the corner and check that out, because that was really, really brilliant. You really broke down, like, in layman's terms, why herbs help with anxiety and other mental illnesses. So definitely go check that out. So the first one is any recommendations for severe depression or anxiety? I don't want to take antidepressants. That's a kind of deep, I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a deep one.
Yeah, that's a heavy one. I mean, I'm definitely not going to just prescribe herbs, especially when it's for severe depression. I would say my recommendation would be to get some form of counselling. So we can even put links in the box below, depending sort of where that they're based, you know, whether it's UK or US, we can put links. I think counselling does help. Of course, you know, I can recommend herbs like, you know, chamomile or St. John's or lemon balm, but sometimes there's a deeper issue at hand. You know, maybe there's some sort of trauma that the person is dealing with. So I would want to sort of get those addressed first, and then the herbs are more of an adjunctive and just a, you know, a varied approach. Yeah, exactly. Like you said in the last video, you know, certainly counselling to look at why the person is going through severe depression in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. What you said about St. John's Wood.
Yeah.
St. John's
Wort.
Yeah. St. John's Wood is a place, isn't it? St. John's Wort. St. John's Wort. I remember you telling me once on the phone about how something about Prozac and St. John's Wort. Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That?
So it's gotten the reputation as like the depression herb, but herbs do so many different things. Herbs are multi-talented. It's almost like someone just saying, "Oh, you're the YouTube lady,"
right?
But like you do so much more than just YouTube. Do you understand? Like you cook as well. You do other things. You sing. You know, like so many things. So like, you know, herbs do more than one thing. So. But St. John's, I mean, there's so many like clinical studies that show in St. John's because of its ability to work on the serotonin. Serotonin is one of your neurotransmitters, so it, you know, your chemical messengers, and it basically supports the function of serotonin and allows more to be absorbed by the brain, and that's why it sort of, you know, elevates your mood and elevates your, you know, feeling of like happiness or feeling good about yourself. And, you know, I guess in a way, it doesn't have the same side effects as antidepressants. So there was a time where you know, people would choose obviously a more holistic approach as opposed to the Prozac route, which just sort of left them kind of feeling just half dead and almost zombie like. You know, people don't want that. So so
I guess to summarize that, it's, you know, you can't really be given advice in general on YouTube. But if you are going to, you know, look into different methods, look into herbs, but also look into counselling if that fits for you. And definitely look into St. John's Wort, because I think that would be a brilliant thing. And there's no side effects, right?
No. I mean, it's like, it's safe. That's the thing. You know, there's studies to show its safety and efficacy. I mean, there's, you know, if you take maybe too much, or it can sort of block the absorption of certain medications. So that's why it's good to, depending on what dose you're going to be taking, it is good to take it under the advice of a medical herbalist. For example, if you're on the contraceptive pill, it can sort of block its effectiveness. So that's something. So that's something to watch out for. But that's just to show. I mean, herbs do work, but you just need to know what you're doing with the herbs.
So definitely seek one-to-one professional advice, I think, for that, because we can't really advise in a general sense over YouTube. All right, next one. Do you recommend valerian to help combat mental stress? I found it's good for sleep.
Yeah, valerian is an interesting one because it works really well with certain people, and there's some people that I found, like some clients, who just don't get along well with it. So it can, in some people, excite them even more, so they find they're having nightmares, or they're not able to sleep, or they're a bit more wired. So that's something to look out for. So yes, you know, you can get like, you know, over the counter valerian stuff. So that's something you can pick up yourself and just, you know, see if it works for you. If not, then maybe look at other things, maybe such as chamomile or lemon balm, passion flower, really sort of, you know, gentle, subtle herbs to aid relaxation as well.
Okay, so I guess it depends on
the person. Yeah, that's why, you know, it's hard to sort of prescribe, because I don't know sort of what other medications you're on and how the herbs can contraindicate.
100%. Yeah. Next question. So some of these are just repeating the other question, so I'll go on to... Okay, next one is from Serena from Life Vocabulary, my dear friend Serena. Thank you for sending this question in. So she said, herbs for calming young children and herbs for anxiety and stress. So herbs for calming young children, that's an interesting one.
So rose springs to mind. You know, rose is really good for children. So you can take it in the form of like rose syrup or rose tea.
So and that get the buds of rose.
Yeah, like the flower. And you know, you can buy that again. We can put links in the box. But that helps, you know, things like chamomile tea is great, lavender.
So really soft.
Yeah, herbs. And you know, just because it's sort of gentle doesn't mean weak. You know, sometimes we think of chamomile. I mean, I give it to clients who have period pains, but it still works gently. It's a very sort of mothering, soothing herb. So chamomiles, lavenders, rose, they get on really well with children.
That's amazing. Victoria asked, I would be interested to hear about ashwaganda and its benefits. I'd also be interested in any science that backs up the world of herbs, specifically studies. I think we kind of covered that one in the first video. So if you want to look at like the science of herbs and how they work with the neurotransmitters, check out the previous video. But for this question, so ashwaganda and its benefits.
Yeah, so ashwaganda is what we call an adaptogen. And adaptogen herbs are basically herbs that work via the pituitary gland to sort of, you know, slow down the stress response. So you're not as... you know, you're not sort of as wired, and you have
not as highly strung.
Yes, exactly. And you have the ability to cope with stress more. So, you know, it helps to sort of keep your cortisol levels balanced. What's cortisol is kind of known as the stress hormone, but it's the hormone that gets released in times of high stress. You know, we need it, but then when there's too much in the bloodstream, that's when like everything, for a long period of time. Because you have to think, if one hormone is really, really high, it's likely there are other hormones that are suffering and sort of, you know, so being depleted. Exactly. So you need to balance it. So basically, yeah, so it helps to sort of keep your adrenals going. It's a great one for women who work sort of long hours, or it's a nutritive as well. So if you find you're sort of just really run down, depleted, just feel sort of emaciated and just need nourishing, it's a great one for that. You can take it as a powder in your cereal, your oatmeal. Take it with warm milk, with like a turmeric and, you know, like a chai.
I think I've had ashwagandha hot chocolate before, like with cacao and some coconut.
Exactly. So it's really sort of a nutritive herb as well.
Okay, cool. And it's like good for your adrenals as well.
Exactly. So it's good for the adrenal glands. Yeah.
If you're feeling fatigued, get on the ashwagandha. So I guess that's why it helps with mental health and stress. Okay, a lot of people actually asked about cannabis. Do you know if cannabis has a negative impact on someone's mental state? And I think this question is really interesting. I have my own views, but I'll let you go first with the cannabis one.
So there are different compounds that exist in cannabis. So for example, when they take out the THC, they realize it doesn't have the same psychoactive effects as when it's just the cannabinoids in the herb. And obviously it's a really controversial one right now, because you need to know where you're getting it from. Is it a legal source and all of that? But I would say when taken properly, it can have really beneficial effects, as we've seen this clinical studies showing the effects on pain, on autoimmune conditions. But just sort of at the moment, they're, you know, doing it without the THC present, so it doesn't have the psychoactive effect.
You mentioned taking it properly. I think that's actually applied to all herbs, isn't it? Like you said with St. John's wort, like you know, you've got to take that properly. So every single herb you have to take properly, including cannabis. For me personally, I have seen the effects of the THC, so the psychoactive element. I've seen how beneficial that can be to people, and with all the cannabinoids, and as like as a holistic plant, and how great it works for, you know, chronic conditions like Crohn's disease, IBS, and even things like cancer. You know, this is the kind of thing that can really help heal people. Of course, it's very controversial, but from my experience and from my study, I really do believe that THC and cannabis as a whole plant can help heal people of these things. So again, it depends where you're getting it from. Make sure that it's a reliable source. Make sure you're not just, you know, taking something that's laden with pesticides and other harsh chemicals. Of course, that's not going to be conducive to your mental state. It's not going to be good for you. But I really do believe that when it's a quality product, as with any herb, this isn't just for cannabis, any herb, as long as it's a quality product from a reliable source, it's going to do good for you. And as long as you're taking it in the right dosage,
or, you know, take it with the assistance of a medical herbalist, someone who really knows what they're doing.
Someone also asked the best, two people actually asked, and 3 people actually asked, 3 people asked in different ways, anything for social anxiety.
Social anxiety, okay, so this is an interesting one.
I guess that's kind of comes under the umbrella of anxiety anyways.
Yeah.
So like, what would you say like one go-to herb for anxiety?
Oh, there really isn't a go-to. Like, you know, like there are herbs. Okay, so for example, hawthorn berries. Hawthorn is a very heart nurturing herb. Okay. So with anxiety sometimes comes things like palpitations and, you know, nervous exhaustion. And hawthorn is more, it's a nutritive herb again, but it helps to really calm the heart and calm nervousness and really sort of nurture the heart. So I'd probably, you know, say hawthorn. You know, you can drink that as a tea again. But there really isn't a go-to. I really have to stress that because it depends, again, whether there's like hidden trauma, what the person is going through. But yes, hawthorn is one of my favorites. If we're addressing other factors and herb is just one modality, then hawthorn is something I'll be adding into the mix.
There's a lot of cannabis questions in here, guys, but we've already answered that one. Everyone wants to know about what we think about cannabis and stuff. But someone said, when I'm nervous, I get nauseous, and I currently use gum and water, but it doesn't really help. So is there any advice? Gum and water? I've never heard of that method. Have
gum
you?
And water?
Like probably like chewing gum and like drinking water. That's what I'm taking that as. But when I'm nervous, I get nauseous. So I guess herbs for nausea.
Yeah, okay, so gingers are quite good for that. You know, ginger helps to sort of calm that nauseous feeling in the stomach. Chamomile is also another gentle but effective herb for nausea. But I guess also just watching what you eat. Sometimes there are certain foods that may trigger sort of a level of discomfort in the stomach. So just watching you're not eating sort of processed rubbish, basically junk food.
100%. I usually find that with my clients, when I kind of advise them to just keep a food diary for 3 days or even for a week, for 2 weeks, whatever you feel comfortable with, and just kind of log like, okay, when you feel a bit funny, so write down everything that you eat and everything that you drink, and if you feel a bit funny or nauseous or something's affecting your stress levels or your anxiety, just note that down and then see if you can figure out what your triggers are from there. I really find that that's a good one. So the rest of the questions that we've got are kind of just repetitions of the ones that we've already covered. So I guess that's kind of the end of the questions. Rosemary. That was amazing, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that video. I'm so grateful to have such a dear friend like Rosemary, because you've got such a wealth of knowledge that I've been trying to tap into, but I just, you know, one person can't do everything, so it's great.
It was useful.
I'm sure it was, guys. I'm sure it was. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Be sure to follow Rosemary on Facebook, Instagram, and soon to be on YouTube. Go support her because she is an amazing, amazing woman. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. That was sick.
Oh my god.
That was sick.